Can you give me like master clock?
Yeah, sure.
Like from the modular?
The concept. I just want to explain you what this is all about.
Yeah.
Probably my first source of inspiration in my life since I was a student is the gear. I mean the technology and the instruments. And the fact that when I was playing in some rock bands when I was a teenager, suddenly I discovered I was interested in processing sounds and putting my guitar sounds on tape and playing the tape backwards and changing the speed and slowing it down or up. Music is not made only of notes based on solfeggio, but also made of sounds. And this idea changed my mind. And then my source of inspiration came really since that from also the instrument, the kind of dialogue you can have, this kind of very tactile approach you can have with technology. Lots of people are thinking that electronic music is cold and robotic, and it's not, or cerebral, or intellectual. It's not the case. It's exactly the reverse, in my opinion. You know, I'm born in France, in Lyon, in the capital of cooking. And we love cooking. And for me, electronic music is like cooking. Cooking loops, beats, frequencies, and waveforms in a very tactile and sensual way. When you have all these knobs and all this fantastic interface between the sound you have in mind or the sound that you don't have in mind but you are going to discover and yourself is something which is, in my opinion, much more direct than a score with a piece of paper. Because when you think of it, this is a very intellectual and cerebral approach of music. I'm not saying it's better or worse, but it's simply different. When I started, you had synthesizers, of course, with no presets. And so you had to do, and also no MIDI. It was even, so I remember that even before Oxygen, and even for Oxygen, I played a lot of sequences by hand, and also with monophonic instruments. It was not even polyphonic. Of course, every instrument has its own character. It's like in classical music, actually, where you have violins and clarinets and trumpets. I mean, depending on what you want to do, you are going to use this synthesizer because the filter has a special color. For instance, we know in electronic music that, for instance, between Moog and ARP 2600, you have a total different color because of the filter, because of the structure of the instrument itself. So, of course, these are choices that I have to make when I start thinking about music. In any kind of piece of music I'm starting or I worked in my life so far, I know that this instrument or that instrument will be more adapted to what I want. It's very important to understand that it's technology dictating styles and not the reverse. It's because the violin has been invented that Vivaldi did what he did. It's because of the electric guitar has been made that Chuck Berry invented rock and roll, in a sense. It's the same thing for synthesizer. I mean, or electroacoustic music, when a tape recorder has been done, people have suddenly considered this instrument, this machine, as an instrument to play with the tapes, with sellotape and scissors and doing music with it. And of course the same with synthesizers. The fact that I won't be here without people having invented these instruments.
Nothing too complex.
So this whole early digital era was sold to us, was presented to us as the grail for everything. The CD was the grail of quality. We all know that it's crap. CD. I mean, the vinyl is much better, or today high definition in digital sound is much better. This is the reason why I don't like the DX7. The reason why I hate the DX7, because this synth killed, being a very interesting instrument in itself, killed this whole philosophy of analog synth and the fact that you could do your own sounds yourself, and created a kind of confusion. What electronic music is all about is just by playing presets and imitating the sound of a trumpet, the sound of a saxophone, and the sound of an organ in a rather poor way. So I don't give any kind of hierarchy between analog and digital. What is the best? What is worst? Because there are two different worlds. But these days, which is great, is we can join them. Of course, the digital instruments are totally different from analog instruments, as long as they stop imitating or emulating analog instruments. Because if you want analog instruments, use an analog one, if you can, of course.
It's like one is left and another is right. Nice one down.
I love the philosophy of monosynth, because I mean nature is made of mono. I mean, when I talk to you, I'm talking in mono. A violin is mono. A guitar is mono. Our ears are creating the space, and not only the stereo, but the kind of surround sound. Is the reason why that I think the concept of Eurorack, for instance, is very interesting, because it's like a mechano, where you can build your sound like an architect, and then you have a straight mono sound, and now you have more and more stereo modules. But it's an interesting, it's a different way of conceiving sounds.
One is left and another is right.
Okay, it's a very interesting question. Why France and also Germany have such important role in the history of electronic music? I would say it's because electronic music has nothing to do with America at the beginning, nothing to do with jazz, blues, rock. It's coming from these long instrumental pieces. They are coming from our heritage from classical music. And when you see France, it's true, I would say that electronic music is born in continental Europe. And in continental Europe, I would also, of course, include Russia. Because when you think about people like Leon Theremin, or lots of Russian designer musicians being involved at a very early stage in electronic devices, electronic music concept, all Eastern Europe also, and lots of countries of it's a European concept. This idea of approaching music with a different style, and of course Germany and France with people like Stockhausen on one side, and Pierre Schaeffer they've been both my mentors and professors, and you have this kind of idea that electronic music is born there, where jazz, blues, or rock is born in America. So it's probably the reason why the French scene and the German scene, especially, are so important in the electronic music scene yesterday, today, and tomorrow. If I had to give one advice to a young beginner in electronic music, would be in days where you have so many products on the market. Since the beginning of this conversation, you probably have 100 or more, or few hundreds plugins, concepts, instruments on the market, and they will be probably most of them obsolete by tomorrow morning. So instead of having this kind of mad quest about being scared of missing something, let's try to just breathe, take a break, and just think about what instruments, a plugin, a module, polyphonic synth, whatever, where you feel a kind of empathy with, where you feel a kind of complicity, where you think that you feel that you could build something. And then when you have choose that, just stay focused for at least 6 months or 1 year only on this. Don't take anything else. Just focus on one element and try to express yourself, because what's going to be unique is yourself. It's not the machine, it's not the instruments, it's what you are going to do with it, which has the value, and nothing else. And then instead of falling into the trap of becoming kind of archivist of presets, and where you don't know where you are and you lose your identity. I mean, the best way to create something interesting is to try to express your identity, to develop it. And the only way to do it is actually to focus on one instrument, whatever it is. It will be much more, even if you're wrong in your choice afterward. I mean, the fact that you choose is more important than anything else. I would take the example of Erica Synth. The Erica Synth company make me think about EMS or Moog in the early days. I mean, people just having an idea and starting with the idea, not with a lot of money, but just with the greed, the appetite of creating something specific, something with a kind of obsession, obsessive concept, obsessive color, and then developing this.
We play in some underground clubs, and then this is all you can bring, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
it's nice because actually you have everything in the same package.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Exactly. Yeah. It took quite a while to accomplish this.
If you want to conceive an idea in the best possible way, you have to be able to do it fast, to do it in an easy way, and to not to forget your ideas. It's very fragile. A creative idea is very fragile. You can have the reason why we are night birds. I mean, musicians, because we need silence or being off the day-to-day life. Because any kind of a door opening can kill an idea. And then, in the relationship with your instrument, if you don't have a kind of direct understanding of what you do, and if you have to go through too many menus, I mean, then the idea is disappearing. So the idea is actually I got a drone. Okay, we did with Stéphane the other day, and then a sequence that I have. Of course, electronic music probably is linked from the early days with science fiction, with space, with the idea of kind of futuristic concepts, and of course in the mid part of the last century, you had this kind of obsession toward the future, to go to the moon, to go to space, and the electronic music is somehow at the beginning linked to this kind of space age.
So if you would be forced to go to Mars, what would you take with you?
For instance, first of all, I would probably take a computer, my Mac, because actually that's I can do a lot of things with some batteries, but I think that on Mars we will find some energy, so not too much, and probably one modular is very interesting because you can do more or less whatever you want with the modular concept, and I don't know how much you allow me of freight and luggage, because I could
Take another 100 kilograms.
yes, 100 kilograms. So then I put of course my first synthesizer, the VCS3, and a string ensemble, and I'm just talking about music. I'm not talking about something else.
Yeah, but that's what matters to you.
Yes, exactly. And the R2600 probably, and also
Some mixer.
some mixer, but you know, with Live Ableton, and what I'm using now is I'm using Live Ableton in my MacBook, and that is perfect for me. And that would be probably it. I would be happy with this, and probably one polyphonic synthesizer. And I'm waiting from Erika Synth next hardware keyboard.
iPad, c'est bon.
Yeah.
Let's start at measure 22.
Je peux en débrancher deux là-dedans pour l'instant.
Instead, yeah. So it will be... Then shut down the click and you're good. Then the panel.
Let's see if it's not really. Thanks.
Thank you.
My
It's a big one.
life of them.
Yeah.
I can play a whole day from this.
Of course, the next big revolution in the 21st century is going to be artificial intelligence. We have to understand that, and we have to realize that probably in 25, 30 years from now, the first computer will be created probably superior of the human brain. And then it means that a machine will be able to create some music, to create some movies, to create some novels, not by copying what we do, but able to create something. So we should not be scared about this, because it's strange how human beings are so afraid of the future. Generation after generation, our parents, our grandparents, they were always scared about what would happen that will destroy their lives. So far, it has not been the case, and technology, generally speaking, brought progress and brought positive elements in our life than the reverse. And there is no reason why artificial intelligence would be the case for artificial intelligence. So it means that then our creative approach confronted to a new situation, which is actually we'll have machines creating maybe instead of us, then we'll have to put our creative level somewhere else. I don't know where, but it's going to change a lot the way we are going to conceive maybe collaborating with machine. I mean, I did this album, this series of project with called Electronica. I mean, collaborating with lots of different artists and of course human beings, being part of the electronic music scene. Maybe in the future, I'll collaborate with machines or computers. I mean, bringing me also some creative elements. I think it's going to be one major revolution for all of us, and beyond electronic music. But for electronic music, of course, because we are dealing with machines, we are going to be the first. To use this, to be aware of and to be in contact with these new evolutions. And probably the other one also is of course the evolution of internet and the fact that we can more and more going out from a place like this, but to collaborate, to be in contact with our planet anywhere it is.